Hello, everyone. My name is Vivek Kumar Gupta, and I'm a data governance consultant. Currently, I'm working with Emirates and BD here in Dubai, and I've worked with various clients as well in the past. So, to begin with, I would be today be giving a small session for data quality using Agile methodology. We all are aware that. Everybody we talk about agile, how to use it, but today I will try to give you the practical implementation. How is it possible? How we can do this? And feel free to ask any of the questions, and I'll try my best to answer those. So to start with, I'll first talk about what are the contents I would be covering in my session. So I've thought that let me show you the traditional approach of how the data quality was done. Then what are the key drivers that why are we planning to go ahead and do the agile data quality basically, and then how the things are done in agile actually, how the team setup should be there and all. So I would be talking on those lines as well. So coming to my traditional data quality approach, how it is done. So as you all were aware, we are in the early 2000s and all when this data quality all got started. So everybody was following the same waterfall model where we used to do a sort of a planning. So we thought, okay, let's see what are the in scope system, where we should start our data quality, identify various stakeholders, the SMEs basically who would be taking part in that initiative basically, and what type of roles they are having, what type of sources they are covering, and then there has to be a validation and the strategy as well. So this was done earlier in the planning phase, and then we had the defining basically how you are going to define the data quality. You will go ahead and identify your critical data elements, define the business rules for them, and then have the profiling parameters, because this become essential once you are planning to go ahead and have the legacy data sources. So what will happen is first you identify those critical data elements, try to define what type of data dimensions you would be following in your complete data quality program. And I'm pretty aware that people might be knowing about those data dimensions when I say it's a kind of a on what basis you're going to judge the quality of your data. So you have the completeness rules, the conformity rules, the validity, accuracy. It's totally depend upon the type of organization you are dealing with, and what type of data is it. And then you define those profiling parameters, because you before you start writing rules and all, you should know what type of data you are handling. So that's why those profiling parameters are important. So once you are able to do that, then you start assessing. The real data quality starts here. So where you would be executing those rules on the identified data sets. Basically, you have you will have to extract those data from the legacy systems. The rules which you had defined in the previous step, you will run on them, and then try to create some scores on top of it. And then what will happen is once you are able to define the scores, you will find that there are few data breaches. There are various type of issues which you didn't thought, or it would be there in the data, but you will find them. So then you start doing a sort of a root cause analysis to find out, okay, why this error has come, or why what from where this got actually started, or maybe I have written the wrong rule, or do I need to change my rule. All these things you start doing in the runtime. So what happens is there is a lot of delay. There's a lot of back and forth, because what happens once you try to strategize the entire data quality program, you don't think that there would be too much hands in those. You need to talk to the business. You need to write the rules, and various different types of businesses would be having various rules. So all these things would be there, and which always results in having a delay in the deliverables basically from the data quality side. And then once you have assessed, you start remediating those. So you will have to screen those results, whatever breaches you find with the data owners or the business SMEs. And then if they validate, yeah, that's a issue, and they accept, which is a very hard fact. And believe me, like, from my past experience as well, it's not very easy. It's very easy to say, okay, I'll do the cleansing part, and I will go for the fixes, but you'll have to do a kind of impact analysis as well before fixing those, because your all the downstream application would be using that data. What all would be, who are the data consumers for those? You will have to think from that perspective, and then go for correction of data. So yeah, so all these were actually the linear steps, and then the final which comes is actually the ongoing process. So how you will monitor those, how what type of steps you would be taking once there are certain changes, and how you will periodically monitor them. So all these things start coming into the picture in the traditional data quality approach, which was in the scope. Basically, once you start the data quality program, you have the complete setup with you, and say, okay, yes, I will go for such type of sources, and I will first profile them, and define the rules, and then calculate the scores, then create a dashboard, or maybe a small charts and all, and then show it to the business, and get whether what should be the next step for cleansing and all. So these were more sort of a linear program, and they were actually time consuming. So to eradicate these things, and why that these types of delays were there. So the industry came up with the concept of, let's use agile on it. How we can expedite this process, how we can make sure that the right set of data is clean, because it's very important that you don't end up and cleaning the data which is of less important to the organization. So it should also be of importance to the business as well, because the USP, the ROI, the business should drive the ROI for them. So that's what this all approaches were done in the past. And then the drivers, basically, then why do we need the agile data quality? So that's the first part, which I thought is very important, is the dynamic regulatory requirements. We all are aware in this post-pandemic scenarios, and how many type of changes we get from the central banks or the regulatory bodies. You need to follow the various complex compliance guidelines as well once you're doing any sort of business, maybe within the boundaries or outside the boundaries. It changes very easily. It's very easy to change the regulatory, but the impact, that kind of impact it has on your data, it's huge. You have those GDPR, you have those BCPS, you have those IFRS. So you can see all these things, and majorly these are the financial, but definitely now, since we have regulatory in other domains as well, it becomes very, very, very complex, and it changes very, very, very frequently. So to make sure that, okay, that my data quality is in the correct direction, that's what the first I thought is very important, that driver for basically why we should go ahead and use the agile for the data quality. The second is definitely the evolving business priorities. And very live example, we have this COVID and all those. So you can see the mode of businesses are getting changed, the way the locations, the geographies are getting changed. Their priorities are also changing dynamically. So it cannot happen that we started a program 2 months back, and okay, I'll do for a particular, let's say I will cleanse the data for the customer for a particular geography, and then and then the priority gets changed. So it's very, very complex, and it's too dynamic. So it's totally comes on the business costs as well. So these are the basically the why we should go ahead and do the agile process. The third, definitely the strategic decision making, because any sort of decisions which the business does, it cannot be on a bad data. It has to be on the good data, and then only you get the good data confidence on top of it. So it's very important for us to understand that this agile data quality makes sure that we are moving on the right track, and we are also in aligned with the business priorities as well. That's the most important, because if you go for a traditional approach, you start your sources and all, and then later on you find out, no, this was not which was actually required. Maybe we'll have to change, we'll have to tweak certain rules. So all these things becomes very easy when you are into the agile mode. Then the fourth, which we should not forget, every when we are in the industry, we have the customer engagement. You see the type of data we store in form of customer demographics and all those emails, those numbers and all. Many of them are not as per the standards or as per the guidelines as well. And what happens is, whenever any company runs the marketing campaign or the sales campaign, they don't reach to the actual customer. So it's very easy to say, yes, it was the failure, or it was not up to the mark from the customers. But if we are not having the correct data, these are the problems which we'll face. So to make sure, yes, we have the correct set of data, definitely this agile is required actually. And the last is actually the self-service BI. These are now you see, most of the organization are setting up their own self-service models, where they don't want to depend on any teams to give their daily MIS reports or sort of any reportings. They just want to do it on the go and on the self. So that's very, and that's becomes very important, because you should have the good data which is going into your model. It cannot that you have a non-standardized data, and then you start doing certain kind of reportings on top of it. So that's what I thought are very important, that when we are having the agile, when we are going towards the agile data quality, what are the drivers which are actually leading to it actually. Now, my coming to the third point is how you should do it, because it's very easy to say, and mind you, it's agile. Whenever we talk about agile, it's just the mindset. You have the same problems. You have to see how you can do it differently, because that's the only USP of agile, where you don't think you have a bigger problem. You start breaking them, and then you try to solve them. So that's what. When you start your agile, you have a small product or a sprint backlog, basically, where you define, okay, what are the sources I'm going to take. There are various industry best practices where you can have a KPI based approach or a source system based approach, but you'll have to see what aligns your business priorities. When I say KPI, those are the key performance indicators. So you can either have a small sprint where you pick up certain KPIs, and then try to go ahead and see what type of data is linked to it, and try to do the data quality for those, because that becomes very effective, and that's what the USP when I'm talking about agile, that gives to the business basically. Then once you have the let's say this is a sample which I thought would be useful, that how we are going to use it. So let's say once you have your backlog ready, where you have identified the data sources which should be taking part in the data quality, let's go and identify, segregate, break them, and try to profile them first. So definitely the first step of profiling, which comes where you will be profiling, either you use certain types of self-made automated queries, or you can rely on various tools available in the market as well. IBM Information Analyzer, Informatica, all of them are there, which you can use. So the first step which becomes is you start profiling. So once you start profiling, you get to know, okay, what type of data I have got in my system. Now I'll have to define those. How you will go ahead and define. So that's the key lies over there. You will define define those with the help of business rules, and then start assessing that. Once you start assessing, you start getting the data quality scores. You also start remediating. You start to find out, okay, whether that's a correct way of analyzing the particular data quality scores or not. If yes, then the second is actually you go for small remediation and then the fixation. So once you fix it, you'll have to monitor it. So and definitely once you have this kind of a sprint, you definitely, there has to be some output. That's what important from agile. You don't have to wait for too long to have a kind of a report. You can have a small um, charts and all, or a very basic diagram as well in the initial, to understand. You can do a wireframing on top of it to see, okay, how my data, how my dashboard would be looking like for a data quality. So here, that's what I have tried to show it over here. It's a kind of a MVP. It's a minimum viable product, basically a small release where you will have, okay, I would be having basic such type of graphs to show it to my stakeholders, that how the data is performing, how the data is in a particular system. So that's become a kind of agile mode. And what happens is, let's say if you have done something wrong, and or your rules are not up to the mark, you can immediately go and correct it. So that's what the agile gives you the benefit. It's not that when once you are into a mode of proper development and running the scores, and on later on you realize that that's what you have done wrong, and then you go back and correct. So these are more of a corrective action which we are talking about in the agile. And then definitely once you have your whatever mistakes you have learned from your sprint, the last sprint, you can definitely try to correct those, and go ahead and again do the same part. You do the profiling, whatever the new additional set, or you can reprofile the old one if the results were not up to the mark. Then you again define them, assess them, and then remediate. And finally, the final step of monitor. So this, and then you can again release, you can get a dashboard on top of it. So here, friends, you can very clearly see this is a kind of a wireframing or very basic charts. And once you get the alignment from the business, yes, that's what they are looking forward, you can go ahead and implement those. So that's, I was talking about that how we can use agile. So that's why ultimately the product is same, but we are trying to break them into the parts. That's what I told in the beginning, that agile is basically the mindset. The work is same, but how you can give a kind of a confidence to the business that we are on the right track, we are doing the data quality for the right set of data, that's become very important. So this is a kind of which can be used once you have, if people are aware about the agile practices, the best, what type of ceremonies we can have, various like you have a daily stand-ups and all. Because in data quality, whenever you are doing a data quality, you are bound to talk to various people. It can be done in a silo. There you need to talk with various business, various stakeholders, and that's why this agile becomes very important, where you are actually dynamic and also moving forward as well. Because it's very easy to say I'll get time from the business and get those clean, but that's not in the real life scenario, mind you, it's not very easy. So that's what now the second step. And now what are the features, basically what are the key features of agile data quality? Definitely, which I was talking about, the first part is active user involvement. You'll have to talk to the business whenever you have to move to and fro. You identify the issue, you talk to the business SME or the business stakeholder. They will tell you whether that's the correct way of doing it or not, or maybe you have to tweak the rule as well. So there has to be a lot of active user participation. So that's why it becomes very easy in to handle that in agile mode, as compared when you are into the traditional waterfall model, where you will have to buy out some time and all. So that's what when we I will talk about in the later stage as well, how we will set up agile business teams as well, data quality teams. But definitely these are the features when we talk about are very crucial for a successful data quality program. The second, which is again very is critical, is the incremental and the iterative approach. Basically, what happens is you identify your data sources, you start writing those rules, and then you get to know there are a certain wrong, or you have to reprofile those. So what happens is in those scenarios, it's very difficult in the traditional approach to get the impact, and it takes a lot of time, whereas in agile mode it's very easy to change as well. So that's what it's one of the key features in this process. Third, the issue ownership and the time bound fixes. You you don't have to wait for your step that okay, first I will identify all the issues and later on I will go ahead and the fixes, because that's you get the lag, and then the business people start getting frustrated that why I'm not getting the outcome, why the data is not getting corrected in that source system. So here, that's what in agile what you'll do, you'll have the issue ownership. As soon as you, the first time you identify an issue, you will raise that in that particular sprint, and then you will have a various time bounds as well. You can have certain SLAs where you can put certain SLAs with the business that okay, let's, if whenever an issue is raised, let's try to close that within 3 to 5 days as per the criticality. But that will help the organization basically to judge what is the time and pace of my data quality program, because that's become very difficult. And these programs, whenever an organization starts, they are actually takes huge volume from the data, from the resourcing point of view as well. So that's what you start giving ROI from day one as soon as you start your sprints. And the fourth one and important is the integrated data validation and testing. That's the also a key feature of agile, where you don't have to wait for too long to identify a bug and all. You can initially, in the sprint one or sprint two only, you can start identifying those and go for the parallel fixes. So you keep your team occupied. That's the most important, because you are not delaying, or it's not getting delayed from the external party or the external stakeholders. You keep your team busy. You start giving them various bug fixes or the testing as well. So which is done parallelly. So you don't need extra time or an extra some duration to identify or fix those bugs. And lastly, but not the least, is actually the a kind of a building a reusable framework. That's what agile is all about, where you start doing a small prototyping, and this type of framework, once you create, it can be easily be used and plugged in any of the scenarios. It can be used by the finance team, it can be used by the HR team. So you create a module, a reusable module, which starts which a kind of a plug and play for other systems as well, or the other business functions as well. So that's a kind of a key features which, when we talk about from the agile data quality point of view, and these becomes very effective once you start using the agile mode. Now lastly, when I talked about that, I'll say how the team should look like, because that's a very important part. It's easy to say that I'm in the agile and I will try to do data quality, but what sort of team you will have, what are the minimum basic resources which you require to start to go ahead and run a successful data quality program. So that's what I have tried to portray over here, where you can see these are based. Once you have your Scrum Master, definitely a product owner, and a small kind of DQ team as well. So these all are part of basically the agile data quality team. And then you have the business owners, which would be a kind of a bridge between the data quality team and the business SMEs as well. So here the structure is something which organization, it depends upon the type of organization and what type of hierarchies they are having. But these are actually the minimum team which you can hold for a data quality program, agile data quality program. So when I say about a DQ team, that's what I talk about. Okay, you should have a data quality analyst, you should have one data engineer and a BA engineer, because once you start running these data quality program, you require certain kind of outputs in form of dashboards or report, which could be any kind of a click view or a Power BI, any sort of reports. That's what the business start seeing and try to monitor regularly. So that's what I have tried to show, that okay, once you have a the DQ team, which will have these three, and then we'll have a Scrum Master and the product owner. The Scrum Master is definitely the person who would be running carrying the Scrum principles for the team, because it's the initial which I told about. That's the complete mindset, that the mindset of the people need to be changed, because that's more important. You need to be on the you need to follow certain guidelines from the scrums as well, which becomes very effective. Initially we may think that it takes a lot of time, but they are actually beneficial. You follow a kind of a daily stand-up where you can discuss your daily problem, and then you can tell, okay, why my business rules are not getting executed, and also all those problems can be raised. And it becomes a duty of the scrum master basically to make sure that the entire setup is ready for the data quality team, and they can be onboarded with the best practices as well. Then we have the product owner. Definitely the product owner is a person who will make sure that initially what should be the backlog, what type of sources we would be starting with, and these all things would be done in alignment with the business owners as well. So once you have your product owner, you have your scrum master, then you have a small data quality team, which are a kind of a mix of engineers and the analyst. Basically, you will have a data quality analyst who would be a kind of a techno-functional person who will make sure that you are able to run the business rules. You're able to frame those business rules, and once the scores are there, he would be the first point of contact to validate those rules before being presented to the business. So it helps to save the time of the team as well as a business as well. Then you have a data engineer, because once you identify your sources or the approach, you will definitely go ahead and extract that data. So that's why that the data engineer becomes handy. He would be a kind of a ETL expert who can actually extract the data and run those data quality rules on top of it. It can be via tools, Informatica. Definitely we have various tools, or it can be kind from SQLs as well. So he would be that person. And then once you have the scores, you have the rules, they need to be portrayed in form of dashboard, and that becomes very important. So that's why you require a business engineer, the business intelligence engineer, the BI engineer when I talk about. So he would be that person who would be creating the dashboard and be sending it to the business stakeholders. So this here I have tried to show it, and then you have the product owner, which I spoke about, and then the business owner as well. So this is a kind of a team structure, which is not too big, but at least to start with, and try to get the actual feel of data, what sort of data is there in the organization and how we can do it. So yeah, that's from the team perspective, from the and how the agile mindset be there. That's all from my side, and feel free to contact me for any of the questions if you have related to data quality or data governance. These are my coordinates as well. Okay, thanks a lot, friends.